But let's get back to this point about sanction, about punishment, if Britain refuses to toe your line. Chris Grayling, again, Secretary of State for Justice, says that ultimately there is nothing you can do. And ultimately, even if you impose fines upon the British government doesn't have to pay them.
Well, I think that not implementing, not executing a judgment of the European Court would be and is a violation of international law. And the Joint Committee in the report I mentioned earlier made that very clear.
Would Britain then have to be thrown out, in your view, thrown out of the Council of Europe if it refused to acknowledge and abide by the rulings of the European Court on human rights?
Well, that is a political question, and as a President of the Court, I do not want to enter into the political arena. You must understand that.
But it's very germane to your entire message and the power you have to win the argument. I mean, the British government, again, says it's not actually necessarily the case that Britain would be chucked out of the Council of Europe. I want to know what you think.
Well, I mean, it is, of course, a problem if a country with a long-standing tradition of protecting human rights, and I would like also to pay tribute to the work which is done by the United Kingdom in the rest of the world promoting human rights, that this country would not comply with the rule of law.
But that's precisely why it may, with all due respect, be a mistake for you to push these particular issues, like the rights of prisoners to vote, because you could stand to lose more than the British government because of Britain's reputation as a home of good law, of integrity, of human rights respect. It could be that some countries will look at Britain standing up to your court and say, well, you know what, if Britain can stand up to the European Court of Human Rights, so can we. And what's the downside?
You're absolutely right with your analysis concerning other countries. But that is not a reason for us not to interpret or to apply the convention according to our principle. We would introduce double standard. You see, we would take different decisions when long-standing members of the Council of Europe are concerned, and take more strong decisions when other countries are concerned. And that's precisely what the European Court never wanted to do, to apply double standards.
But what we could be seeing is the beginning of the unravelling of this 60-year experiment in pan-European human rights justice. Because it's not just Britain. I mean, for example, the Russians right now are saying that they see no reason to abide by your rulings on some of the issues concerning gay rights and the treatment of homosexuals. Very loud noises in the Russian parliament along those lines. It could be we're about to see the fragmentation of the European Court of Human Rights.
But if you mention this problem raised by, you say, Russia, with this argument we could also then adopt a different case law concerning Russia or concerning any other countries. We never did that. We never applied double standards. So,
but if you lose Britain, if Britain walks away from the European Court of Human Rights, then it becomes much less difficult for a country like Russia to walk away too.
Of course.
And you are very close to facing that danger.
What I'm saying is, if Britain would leave the European Convention, it would be a political disaster.
For whom? For Britain or for
everyone?
you?
For everyone who is dedicated to the effective protection of human rights, not only in Europe, but also in the rest of the world, because we have a unique system of protecting human rights. A very powerful system, yes, admittedly, that's true, but it has worked so well over the years. It has given Europe so much, and also the United Kingdom.
So what is your warning to David Cameron, whose party right now is still actively contemplating walking away from the European Court of Human Rights?
My warning to David Cameron would be that Britain should be very careful not to lose its credibility by taking such an important move, and it would not be in the interest of effective human rights protection, and I'm personally convinced that it would not serve the British interests.